Hey guys, Nick Espinoza, your chief security fanatic here. And today I want to talk about the coronavirus because, as you know, the coronavirus is continuing to expand. It's been very problematic. And I want to talk about the technology that we are using to combat not only the coronavirus, but also the fake news that is stemming from this outbreak. Now, here's what's going on. And before we dive into the technology, let's actually look at what we believe are the real numbers for the coronavirus. Now, the real numbers for this infection on mainland China have just been released, and these were released by Tencent and were taken down hours later because they don't actually jive what the Chinese government has said, because Tencent's numbers are way bigger than what the Chinese government is saying. But here's what Tencent is saying, that they have 154,000 confirmed infections in mainland China with 80,000 suspected cases, 269 of which have been cured, and about 25,000 deaths. That is a massive explosion in numbers compared to the official count by the Chinese government. So we're going to see where that goes, but that is a serious problem. And if the Chinese government is downplaying it, and quite frankly, they've done these kinds of things before, such as the SARS outbreak earlier in 2003, the question becomes, how do we contain this? And so let's explore some of the tech that is actually being used right now to contain, track patients, and basically predict models. Now, the first stop we're going to have is in Hong Kong. The Hong Kong government announced that they have made 500 electronic monitoring tags for people in Hong Kong that basically are coming home to a quarantine zone because they were in the Hubei province, which is where this outbreak is happening in mainland China. And so basically, the government, Hong Kong's government's chief information officer, Victor Lam, unveiled these e-tags at a press briefing literally yesterday, saying that any Hong Kong resident who has been to Hubei in the last 14 days must undergo a 14-day quarantine in their home, and these bracelets are there to ensure that they stay in place. Now, basically, this is like low-jacking a human. In the United States, we have ankle monitoring bracelets for those people that have been convicted of crimes but are on house arrest, and this is a very similar situation. Now, this tag is paired to the person's smartphone. It uses Bluetooth low energy technology, and then basically it gets charged and plugged at the person's house, and it is illegal for somebody to take this off. And so they can at any time know if somebody leaves their self-imposed quarantine zone in their home with this technology. And so that would be one way to track possibly infected people as they're moving back and forth. I have no doubt the Chinese government mainland China is probably exploring this as well. The next one is actually Chinese mobile operators and technology firms. They are now supporting the Chinese government in tracking and prevention of pneumonia caused by the coronavirus with the help of big data. Now, telecom giant in China, known as China Unicom, set up a group-wide team of more than 100 big data technicians and experts to provide data analysis and intelligent applications to the government. And this is according to Xinhua, the state-run news media, this past Sunday. Now, they're providing big data analysts on epidemic-related population flow to 31 provincial traffic and health departments to try to contain this around the entire region where the coronavirus has been outbreaking. Another one is Zhitui. They are a smart data provider, and they've studied the number of people traveling from Wuhan, which is the hardest hit, basically the epicenter of this, if you will, basically as people are traveling through central China, and basically released a distribution density of these people moving around in a heat map for the Chinese government so they could see how the population would flow in central China to see if they could contain it any better than they're doing right now. Now, Fang Yi, the CEO of Zhitui, said that travelers from Wuhan were distributed across a wide range of rural areas in Henan, Hunan, Sichuan provinces, and this is according to the heat map. And so we may see the Chinese government start to spread its containment operation and create a much wider epicenter than what Wuhan in the existing area is. And finally, the one technology I want to talk about is how they're combating fake news by virtue of this, one of the problems that we have is fake news or hysteria getting out and basically, quote unquote, infecting the population, and causing a panic. And so there have been wild rumors that have been spread on WeChat and Weibo. These are two social media platforms in China. And some of these things are like promising solutions on how to keep people safe, such as pouring sesame oil into your nostrils and all of that. And so that has been a real serious issue. Now, Chu Wei, he's a professor of communications of communication law at China University of Political Science and Law, said there's a high amount of information saturation with some causing a lot of panic. Now, we've seen other rumors coming out of Chinese social media as well. Another one was that basically a news anchor, Bai Yangsong, who's a very popular news anchor on CCTV, that's China's state television, was going to interview an epidemiologist named Chong Nashan, who was the person that was the key figure in China's 2003 response to SARS. And so that was actually widespread to the point where local media, not just the state-run media, but the local media in China, was actually reporting that he was going to be there basically to give answers to a very panicked and fearful population, and that was quickly killed. CCTV and Bai Yangsong came out and said, no, we are not interviewing Dr. Nashan, so here we are. And basically, this is a problem that we have. And so Chinese social media is now beginning to roll out their own tools for fighting fake news. So Weibo, which is a microblogging site, I would say it's the equivalent of Twitter here in the United States, basically they are now publishing and debunking popular rumors as they are seeing these trends. It also started verifying accounts for some of the bloggers in Wuhan, because some people were saying that they were in Wuhan blogging about the situation when they were clearly not. Disinformation is a very serious issue here. Now, another major site is Toutiao. They are owned by ByteDance. You may know ByteDance because they own TikTok, the platform I've talked about at length here. They actually, in their news aggregator, Toutiao has created a rumor debunking section, and it appears that fact-checking is pretty much all done in-house at ByteDance, and a ByteDance spokesperson did not basically respond to requests from the media to what they were doing. One of the problems that we also have in China is that Chinese businesses like ByteDance or Weibo are going to be basically in lockstep with the Chinese government. So if the Chinese government says, oh, the numbers that we have are 1/10 of what was accidentally published by Tencent and then reduced, that is going to basically be kept in line in any of the major platforms. They don't have the same level of freedom of expression as we do in the United States or Canada or Europe or Australia, etc. And by virtue of that, they're going to try to contain information to probably try to stop quelling a panic. Now, I'm not necessarily sure if this is one of those cases where being in lockstep with the government to ensure that riots and just chaos doesn't ensure, maybe that's a good thing here, or maybe people need to see this. I'll leave that up to you, but this is how we are combating the coronavirus. And we can also talk about things like isolation procedures and processes in hospitals and how those have improved, but that is pretty typical of any kind of outbreak, usually minor, where they're isolating. We've even had cases here in the United States due to the anti-vax movement where measles started coming back in places like California, and we had isolation protocols similar to what they're doing for the coronavirus. So I wanted to focus just on the new technologies and how we are using big data to start understanding how this potential threat could spread, how we can track and monitor potentially infected patients, and how we're combating fake news. I think those three things are going to be very critical in the fight against the coronavirus. And I, like probably everybody on the planet, really hopes that everybody in China is safe and healthy from this. And we hope that the coronavirus dies itself out without any more deaths. So with that is your news of the day, and I hope you learned something. I did. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP, and please feel free to subscribe to me at YouTube as well. And as always, stay safe and stay online. Thanks, guys.